Teamwork presents Just My 50 Cent minus 48 podcast. I wanna be just like a star. You and me just like some stars. All of y'all just like some. Nah, I'm just playing. This ain't no rap song. Bars right there. Hey, welcome to yet another Teamwork presents Just My 50 Cent minus 48 podcast. Today, yours truly, 1989 TRE, Trey Sykes, has a special guest in the building with me, and it is my man that I met that one day at that bar, far, far away from Virginia, in California. Clancy's, to be specific. This is Brent, man. I got Brent in the building with me today.
What's going on?
And this is what's your user tag on YouTube?
I'm Surreal469 everywhere. SURREAL, the numbers 469.
Say it one more time.
SURREAL, the numbers 469.
See, I like to make sure the commercial is done properly, so people definitely got it, because that's what they do on the commercial. 86753, like whatever they do, you know what I mean? So yeah, all right, we got Brent today. You know, my man Jake's held it down with me the first 2 episodes of the podcast, and I've been telling Brent I definitely have something for him. We've been waiting, so got the time. We're here, and I have a hell of a topic for you today, brother.
What is it?
We're going on this generation, okay? And what I mean by this generation, Brent, is everything. I want to talk about how a lot of the outfits have changed, how a lot of the music has changed, how just everything. We're going to touch a lot of topics.
We're going to talk about these whippersnappers?
These whippersnappers.
On that need to get off our lawn?
Basically, yeah, because it's interesting, man. I was telling my mother, actually, earlier today about you. I was saying, this guy is probably my counterpart when it comes to talking. You know, this guy can really go. So for y'all that don't know, make sure you go check out his YouTube and everything else, because he's fire. We actually have a Get Out review together. That was the first project that we worked on, and it was wildly successful because of me.
I beg your pardon.
Nah, it was when I joined it.
I mean, we're both race traders.
But no, wait a second. But it was the numbers I did. So for everybody that don't know him yet, don't worry about what he's saying right at this second. But after this, when I'm done,
go check out the video.
Yeah, check out that video. Check out everything, man. It's a lot of fun. All right, but so we're gonna talk about this generation, and to start off, man, I'm actually going to touch on the sensitivity of this generation. I want to talk about that because I feel like a lot of people in our era, you can't say anything anymore.
No.
Anything you say, I feel like, is misconstrued, taken out of context, and it really puts people at a very uncomfortable situation. Nobody's at ease anymore, you know?
Yeah. I think part of that has to do with how the generation before us and the generation before them did as parents.
Okay.
This isn't a condemnation of them as parents, actually. This is how successful they were as parents, because as a parent, you want your kid to do better than you, to have it easier than you, and all that other stuff. And guess what? Our generation, or this generation now, does have it easier than the generation before it. Does have it in a lot of aspects, and does have it easier than the generation before them in a lot of aspects. And with that, you know, there's not a threat of being drafted off to a war. There's not, you know, polio like our grandparents had to deal with, or, you know, slavery,
yeah,
right?
Yeah.
Being hosed down by the cops on a daily basis. You know what I mean? Like there was back then. So now, this generation has to deal with, you know, their biggest threat are microaggressions. Their biggest threat are their feels. You know
Emojis.
what I mean? Right. Right. You know, so they have, and it's something that I've been guilty of myself a few times. You know, where I was like, man, this is such a big deal to me.
Right.
This is you know, this is so hard on me. But it's like, also in the back of my mind, I keep the thought of, except it's not as big a deal as X, Y, and Z was then, or not as big a deal as some people have it in other countries. But in first world countries, it's easy to be offended by everything and hurt by everything.
Well, you know what? That it's not so serious, but it is to me. theory that you just said, it makes a lot of sense to me because I get that a lot. I get a lot of people that are personally offended by one particular phrase or personally offended by one thing.
Absolutely.
And they'll let that change every perception of one person. You could talk to somebody for over a year, 2, 3 years, 4 years, 5 years, but that one instance that you say you didn't like that Power Rangers hat that you got on.
Right.
Oh man, that Power Rangers hat is trash, Brent.
Right.
What? I'm not doing this podcast. I'm out.
By the way, it doesn't even have to. Whatever you said doesn't even have to be taken in context.
Right. It doesn't even actually have to be offensive.
Right.
I could just say it didn't look good with that outfit.
Right.
And you would say, oh, you don't like my hat.
Exactly.
That hat is everything to me. It's been passed down from generation to generation. You'll go to that level. Like, people go so far in this generation, it throws me off. One thing I want to interject with for a second. My man Brent does something called a 2-drink minimum. Okay? And that is the name of your YouTube channel, correct?
That's right.
Okay. So we have here a mango bottle of Ciroc that I've been nursing. Brent came over, had to pour him a shot. He's got a Green Lantern shot glass.
It's Ciroc.
That's right. It's Ciroc. I got the Batman shot glass, of course. So I'm going to cheers you up. You know, there it is. Hey, I'm going to go ahead and hit mine late. Take a shot. Woo. Yep. We got a little warm. All right. So we got that. And then Brent don't drink beer, but before he got here, I bought a 30-pack because I thought he drunk beer. Turns out I was wrong.
I'm not a particular fan of beer, but since he had it, I'm drinking it.
But that's the 2-drink minimum because, see, I'm adjusting to his world a little bit here. Now, mind you, he said it's just the name.
I appreciate that.
But I wanted it to be comfortable. You know, I didn't want him to get scared off too early because he heard the previous episodes and I attacked folks.
Well, listen, you answering the door butt-ass naked didn't scare me off, so you not having alcohol wasn't going to scare me off.
Well, that was just the lure. That wasn't going to scare you off. I mean, dang, that's the best part. But anyway, back to this generation. So, with the generation also, man, I've noticed, okay, we're going to touch on this because we talked about this a little bit in private. We didn't talk about it a ton, but the rompers.
You mean the romp hymns?
The romp hymns. There you go. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah, that...
Thoughts?
Are
you a fan?
I'm not a fan.
Do you have any?
I don't have any, no, because I'm a heterosexual man. Not that there's anything wrong with being a homosexual man.
Definitely nothing wrong with it.
But I'm just no. I'm just not. I'm just not a fan of it. And it's interesting because the whole romp him debate showed, especially on social media like Facebook and Twitter, showed me a lot about
your friends.
Not as the friends, but also we're talking about generation. Showed me a lot about how offended some people get when you don't like something.
Yeah. Did you get a lot of feedback for that?
I got a lot of feedback. Now,
flack for that.
Yeah. Now here's the thing: we're not going to talk about relationships and women, but most of the feedback was from this generation's women.
Really?
On it, yeah. Because the thing was that the romp him debate went into romper in general debate, and women love their rompers.
Yeah, I don't like those in general.
So I don't like them either.
No, I'm not a fan.
And actually, most guys don't. And when that came to light, a lot of women in the romp him debate started defending their rompers.
They felt like it was being attacked.
They were personally being attacked. Right,
exactly.
It was a personal attack on them. It just happened to come to light. I don't want to touch too much on that because we're talking about this generation and not necessarily.
Well, no, that's a part of it. I mean, that's a part of it. I'm cool with that. Another thing I was gonna bring up. I don't know if you saw my post the other day.
I'm trying to keep us on. I'm trying to keep us on topic.
Listen. I got you. Don't even worry about it today. No, this topic gonna fly around a little bit because it's a lot of stuff to cover. Now. I posted a picture earlier this week. I don't know if you got to see this one, but it was they had these new lacy shorts for guys.
I did see that. You were the one who posted that.
I posted that. That was me. Yeah.
Was that real?
It was real. Yeah, it was about 4 or 5 men lined up. They had some lingerie-looking pants on, shorts that were see-through, and they had their boxers underneath. And they were like, I don't know what they were like, but I needed to understand what the hell was going on there. Are you a fan of those?
Well, look.
They said the fabric is very nice.
Well, look, I'm sure it is. And we live in not only Southern California, we live in Long Beach.
Facts. Facts.
As of recording, Pride weekend was not that long ago.
That was, what, 2 weeks? 2 weeks ago?
Something like that. Yeah. This is not the part of Southern California to live in if you have a problem with something other than heterosexuality.
Yeah. Definitely.
That said, I would never wear them.
Mm-hmm.
They look fine on them. I would never wear them. Listen, if that's what you're into, that's what you're into. That's cool.
Here's my thing.
But I defy any of those dudes in that picture to pick up a woman wearing that shit.
Oh, that's fair. That's fair. That's fair. But you know what? Somebody out there is like, I respect your individuality.
I respect it too.
I do not. I
respect it too, but they're ugly.
Fuck that. No,
yeah,
Brent.
they're
No,
ugly,
Brent. No. That's not what we're doing today. Fuck the PC shit. Listen, I'm not bashing nobody. That's not what we're gonna do here.
Right.
But
ugly is ugly.
Fuck that.
Ugly
okay?
is ugly.
If
right?
I come outside and my dick's hanging out of the front of my shorts, people are gonna be offended. Okay,
Right.
I'm offended by seeing a dude in these lacy pants. Heterosexual dudes, mind you. I'm not worried about what the homosexual guys are wearing. They can do whatever the hell they want. They got a different lifestyle. I get it. Whatever. That shit.
Listen. The long and the short of it is, you're probably going to see that during next. Actually, as we're taping this, I think it's LA Pride this weekend.
Oh, man.
So you're probably going to see those
lacy shorts
during Pride, and good for you for wearing those during Pride. Mazel tov to you and your EDM lace clubs.
Hey,
as for me and mine, I'll stick to the basketball shorts.
Hey.
It took me a long time to
sweatpants guy.
Sweatpants are cool. It took me a while to understand the departure of jean shorts. I liked jean shorts.
The departure.
Yeah. All of a sudden, jean shorts became something to make fun of, and it's like everybody was wearing these, like literally like 2 years ago.
John Cena. That's John Cena's fault. He did
that. Thanks, Cena.
Thanks, Cena. Okay, so we get off the rompers. Let's talk about this because I heard this a little bit on somebody's podcast. I believe I was listening to the Brilliant Idiots podcast with Charlemagne and his boy Andrew Schwartz. That's his name.
Charlemagne has a radio show and a podcast?
He sure does.
This nigga.
He's going for all of it. He wants the entire bag. You know what I'm saying? He was on Joe Budden's podcast last week.
Oh, Lord.
Yeah, and that was hilarious, by the way. Check that out if you haven't heard it.
I have to.
But, so they were talking about rape culture of the 90s. Okay, and what they meant by that was how aggressive guys were back then and how women reacted to it. One thing they said in particular was when they used to do raves and shit, if a woman lifted her top up and tits were out, they were everybody's tits at that time in the 90s. And I started to think back. I said, you know what? They might not be too off base here because when I think back to the 90s, okay?
I mean, they were there. They probably knew.
But I was young, right?
Me too.
Right. Now, he's older than me. So
a little bit.
It's a little different than last time with Jake because Jake was younger. But this time, I'm the young man in this building.
Right.
You understand what I'm saying? My hairline says different. But I don't fucking care, okay?
You got a little Jesse L. Martin going on up there. It's all right.
Listen, I got Martin Luther King
Listen,
going on, okay?
I like Jesse L's cool. I like Jesse L.
Don't distract me, okay? My hair looks fine. I'm putting my hat on in a second.
Shout out to Rent.
But listen, so they had, I started to think about the spring break shit they used to do on MTV. And how wild those parties used to be. They used to have a full weekend segment that people used to watch religiously with Jerry Springer and all these women on stage doing crazy shit. And then they'd have frat dudes come up and they're doing crazy shit. And you look in the crowd, chick be topless, dudes grabbing them. Everybody having a great fucking time.
Yeah.
What happened to that? Is that just a thing? I mean, the concept, the way they worded it, rape culture, is very intense, right?
Yeah, it is.
That's an intense phrasing. But you think about it, they may not be too far off base. But that was acceptable then. So, are we so far beyond that as a society that we've gotten to a point that we will never be anywhere near that realm again, do you think?
No. Because I think what happens with societal norms and trends is that they tend to be circular. They tend to go back and forth. As far as I can't tell you what the party scene was like in the 90s because by the time we got out of the 90s I was only 15.
I was 10, so that just lets y'all know I'm way younger is what I'm saying. Go ahead, you can keep going.
Young buck. So like I wasn't doing a lot of matter of fact I really didn't do a whole lot of partying until I was early 20s.
Yeah, me too.
You know what I'm saying?
Late.
I really don't know, and I wasn't watching those kinds of shows because we didn't have cable back then.
I did. Okay, let me tell you something. I grew up in Virginia Beach. Okay, people. I was around white people, and they gave us cable. They didn't give it to us. My mom earned it. But here's the thing. I was privy to those kind of shows, and I wasn't supposed to be watching them because, as you know, I was raised religiously,
right?
And my mother had me on a lock and chain. Like I cannot. Street lights on. Get in. What you doing? You know, it was that. So with that going on, it wasn't supposed to be happening. But I was very sneaky. I was always very sneaky.
Oh yeah.
I get stuff done.
Yeah.
I'm like a church mouse.
That's the thing about being raised religious, that you become sneaky.
That's true.
Like it breeds sneakiness. I'm sorry. It just does.
So, with that being said, though, is that something that we feel like is so far? Like, I wish we had a female here right now, too. You know what I'm saying? I had somebody in mind that could be a good part of this conversation, which I might strike the same conversation with them later on.
But let me guess, you offended her, too?
Probably.
Uh-huh.
I sure did. I offended somebody in that situation. So, we're going to go with that. But my thing is, I feel like with that whole conversation and that whole logic, like, what was so crazy about it that we pushed away from it so far? I mean, I understand the concept of, like, you can't use crazy slurs at people. You can't call people out of their names. Like, that kind of stuff, I completely agree with the where we are right now. I think that's a right thing. Like, nah, it's not a good look. You shouldn't be calling nobody out of their name. Don't demean anybody. Don't degrade anybody. But what happened to just having fun? You know, people that go out and they're like, yo, I'm having a good time. I'm not worried about consequences per se this weekend. You know what I'm saying? That used to be a thing, it seems like. It seems like when you look back to those times, like I remember a show Wild on E with Brooke Burke. I don't know if you ever saw that.
I remember that show. I do remember that show.
That show had me wanting to grow up immediately. I wanted to leave recess, put my fucking ball down, and just run go jump in the beach.
That came on
E Network.
That came on, I think, like just after the Howard Stern show did,
it was
right?
Right. I think it was 10 o'clock, 11 o'clock. No,
right
11
after
o'clock.
or right before?
I think it was right after.
Okay.
I think it was right after.
Yeah,
Because Howard Stern would be, because they do some wild shit on Wild on E.
Yeah.
So
the only reason I remember that show, I remember watching like an episode or two, and I was like, by that point, I had discovered porn on the internet and was able to find the
pictures, and trailers.
Really the pictures and the clips, because that's all you could really do on a 56K.
Don't be out here stunting. You ain't had cable, but you had the porn sites.
Once again, you little whippersnappers don't know shit about being able. You can get porn on your fucking phone. Are you kidding me? You had to lock the door. You had to have a computer in the room. Heaven help you if the computer was in the living room.
You had to get caught?
Oh my god! Hell yes! Everybody got caught.
I never got caught.
Oh bullshit! You got caught.
Swear to God, I never.
You got caught. Your parents just never told you.
No.
Hell yes, everybody got caught.
To you. Yo, one time, I'll tell you a story.
You couldn't help it. Shit was so slow, you couldn't help it. And loud.
No.
The fucking computer would wake motherfuckers up.
One time, I got real close. My mom came down the stairs on my ass. I said, oh, flip the shit in. I said, no. Because I looked at the guide earlier in the day, right? Mm-hmm. I was meticulous with my shit. So I looked at the guy, I said, oh, okay, they got a TVMA show coming on tonight. We're going to see what that's about. So I look at the clock. I wait till the time is right. I said, okay, it's 11. I think my mom's asleep. I'm going to try to sneak past. I get by. I get down the steps. I said, okay, we in here. Turn that bitch on. Okay, you go ahead and set the last channel, because I don't know if you remember back then with I had Cox cable. I don't know if you even know what that is out here.
Yeah.
But basically on the controller they had the last button, so you set Cartoon Network as the last channel.
Right, yeah,
so if somebody come in, I hit that real quick, then I hit USA because I used to watch wrestling, and then I come back down, so she would believe it.
Right.
So I had that set up. I was ready. I said, I'm good.
I've done that trick before.
That's right. I use that trick every time.
I know that trick.
So that's why I never got caught. So she comes down, and I'm just about to get into this shit, and she runs downstairs, gets right in my face. When I tell you to go to sleep, you go to bed. I said, I'm gonna go upstairs now. But when I heard her coming, it was like, I was scared as shit. I swear to God.
See, that was the thing, though. The late hour of all that shit. And this is another thing you kids don't understand. Like, you got porn at the ready whenever. You could wake up at 6:30 in the morning and have porn at your ready. Like, back in the day, you had to wait until 11 o'clock at night to see the semblance of a tight curve on a nice ass. You understand what I'm saying? Like, the Girls Gone Wild commercials didn't come on until 11 o'clock.
I'm glad you mentioned that, because I was gonna talk about the Girls Gone Wild.
Like, you had to wait. There was a time period.
They don't even know what you're talking about. Girls Gone Wild is not a thing anymore.
No, it's not.
Right?
For various reasons, including the fact that Homeboy got thrown in jail.
I didn't know that.
Yeah.
Well, okay, explain, because I need to know about this. I was curious about this topic.
He had a private island. He got thrown in jail, I think.
He did have a private island. That's right. Those are the last ones I saw.
I think for rape. I think he got thrown. Yeah.
Why would he rape
He got thrown in jail for some shit.
Why would he rape anybody?
That's the question.
All the girls were going wild around him.
No, because
he chose the one that wasn't going wild.
I think
that's a bad call.
If I remember correct, because I'm not looking it up on my phone, because we were just doing this
that's right. It's just
right at the ready. I think if my memory serves, he got thrown in jail for abusing his fiance.
Wow.
Like she charged him with like rape and abusing him.
Why even have a fiance when you're in that business?
Because he knocked her up.
So.
He knocked her up, and then he ended up deciding he wanted.
You need to shut down the company.
I guess they were in love at the time.
Listen,
something.
I'm not mad at that part. My point is,
then afterwards, she came back claiming that he abused and raped her, and he got thrown in jail. I think he's out now. But
if you're running an empire like Girls Gone Wild, I'm gonna fuck these Nets up. We're getting attacked by Nets, by the way. Very annoying. But if you're running an empire like Girls Gone Wild, stay single. You don't need to have anybody around you.
That's right.
Even if you knock them up, either you need to sell the company and get the hell out, or you need to commit and, you know what I'm saying? Like, There's got to be something, but it's not things that go hand in hand.
Right.
And protect yourself.
Yeah.
Why you out here doing that?
Yeah, that's
the leader of the T-shirt gang and the hat gang. Like, that was their lane. But anyway, we spent too much time on this topic.
Yeah, sorry.
No, it's fine. I was curious about it because I was gonna bring that shit up because I thought about that and I thought about that in the whole the whole concept of it. Like, even wrestling. That's when me and Brent originally really connected on UFC and wrestling.
Mm-hmm.
And wrestling went from Raw, right? That was the name they chose originally because of the concept of it. Even though it was a little soft at the time, at the beginning. But they got there. And now it's PG. So with society, I feel like they've done the exact same thing. Is there anything that you feel like, not will turn it around per se, but do you feel like there's anything that will shift soon that you kind of can predict that you see may change that'll kind of lead us back to a place that may be more acceptable of free-spirited, free-flowing, free-living type people?
More edginess, you mean?
More edginess, yeah.
It really just has to be enough people sick of it all kind of at the same time. Because if you remember, around the time Monday Night Raw and Nitro started their shit with the Monday Night Wars and everything, and becoming edgier, society as a whole was becoming edgier.
Okay, that's true.
Because we had
but what I mean with that too, though, I'm talking society too, not just wrestling.
Yeah.
But I'm talking society. Do you think there's anything that's right there that's kind of on that 90s jump?
I'm talking about the same me too.
Okay.
I think what has to happen is there has to be a big enough societal shift. And I think you're starting to see some of it.
I think so too, a little bit.
You're starting to see some pushback against, for lack of a better term, the SJW kind of soft, sensitive, oversensitive nature of society as a whole.
Yeah.
Because we are losing things like the ability to have the same sense of humor that we had before.
Yeah.
The ability to
you can't tell a joke.
You can't tell a joke. It's hard to have even discussions with people.
Right.
You're starting to see some pushback. But I think I think there needs to be more of that built up before it swings back the other way.
Yeah.
And I think it'll happen. It will just take a few years for it to happen.
Do you think we'll be young enough to still party?
Oh, you're never too old to party. You're never too old to party.
You say that now. But what about 10 years
You're
from now
never
when
too
you're
old
tired?
to party. You're never too old to party.
Listen.
If you can do it, you're never too old to party.
Okay. All right. Okay. What about Facebook? Facebook and social media. Your thoughts on their effect on our current climate of society?
It's bad. Now, mind you, okay, let me rephrase that. The way we choose, because social media is a tool. The way most people tend to use...
You're a tool. Okay, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I am. But the way most people tend to use said tool is not constructive. And I say that to say we all have a tendency, and again, I've been guilty of this myself, we all have a tendency to put ourselves in echo chambers. We all have a tendency, we like the things that we like, especially on social media. It's easy to block the things we don't like. The feeds have been shown to show us things we want to see.
Facts.
As opposed
it's crazy.
to... Right. Like, one of my best friends in real life, I don't see a lot of his posts on Facebook just because Facebook decided they wanted me to see something else.
Well, you know, you can now, Facebook has also added this feature, though, that you can click on people's profile and you can put see first. It's something they added.
I did not.
Yeah, I did that a couple weeks ago. I added like 10 or 12 people. Like, most of you motherfuckers, I don't care.
Yeah.
And I mean that to all my listeners. It's like 10 of y'all. It's a list of about 10 that I look at and I see all your posts. It pops up immediately. When I open my thing, I'm like, oh, so that's what he's talking about. You know what I mean? But everybody else, nothing.
Yeah.
Just that blink. Because I got sick of seeing, like, Tasha from Illinois says,
right.
I'm like, who
right.
the fuck is Tasha?
Right.
She fine, but who is she?
Yeah.
I don't care about her.
It's the same shit. You see the same shit over and over.
Right.
We have a tendency to insulate ourselves and create these echo chambers where all we're doing is hearing our point of view.
Yeah.
And the problem with that is that our points of view aren't being challenged and we're not having discussions. And whatever real actual problems exist, and of course real actual problems exist, but whatever real actual problems exist, we don't allow ourselves to engage in, to learn from, to find a different point of view, because it's so easy for us to create this kind of bubble for ourselves.
Yeah. Not to mention Charlemagne twice in one podcast, but
mention Charlemagne twice in one podcast.
I read his book, Black Privilege, right? And with that book, he was talking about exactly what you just said, where back in the day, with even Democrats and Republicans, excuse me, the beer got me. But back in the day, with even Democrats and Republicans, we were able to sit down and have dialogues of different opinions, and you would learn from the other side.
Right.
There'd be conflicts, and there would be things that y'all would like, no, I strongly disagree with what you just said. But you would sit down and you have that conversation without people getting personal about it. It's not something like, oh, man, like I said, I fucking hate your hat now. You wear glasses. I can't talk to people with glasses.
Right.
Take them off.
Yeah.
We're going to do this podcast. You take them fucking glasses off.
Right.
It wasn't like that back then. It was like, yo, we could sit there. We got completely different. You don't like Bud Light? What? Like, you said that about my beer. I could have kicked you out of the house. It's over. You don't like Bud Light? And vodka. That's not your thing. Oh, this dude. He disrespected me.
By the way, this podcast is not sponsored by Bud or Bud Light or Anheuser-Busch, St. Louis, Missouri.
Listen, if I ever get on, I'm going to stop talking about all this shit until they pay me. I'll let you know right now.
Go ahead.
You get what I'm saying with like with the politics. That's a lot of why we are where we are right now too.
No, you're absolutely correct. There's a documentary on Netflix called Best of Enemies. It's about the Gore Vidal Barkley debates that they would have back in the 70s.
Who are those people?
These are two, I guess, pundits, commentators, very intelligent men who were diametrically opposed politically. But they had some of the greatest debates in televised political history. They did. And they were diametrically opposed to each other. And the fact that they were able to have these debates, now mind you, there were only like 3 networks at the time, but they were social events. You gathered around the television to watch these, no matter which side of the spectrum you were on, and you were destined to learn something from the other side. Conversely, I think, and this is something that I'm seeing black people are pulling away from, we used to have the same thing at family reunions, parties, barbecues, barbershops. You know, the movie Barbershop, say what you want to about the movie Barbershop and all that other stuff, it caught at least the general aspect of going to a kind of public forum.
Yeah.
And having these different discussions. Now, it could be something, you know, as trivial as Lakers versus Celtics, or it could be about politics.
Right.
And it could be about current events. And it could be about Malcolm versus Martin.
Right.
And it could be about stuff like that. And
who did you have, by the way? Malcolm or Martin? And we talking about in the prime. Don't talk about after Malcolm changed.
Oh, you're talking about fighting?
You're talking about
fisticuffs?
Not fighting. No. 'Cause I got Malcolm in that. But I'm talking about who are you?
Martin when I was younger, Malcolm when I became 20-something, but now an amalgam of both. Like you need both.
You do.
I feel like you need that balance.
Me and my girl Anna had the same debate. I normally call her Utah, but Anna, we had the same debate because we talked about this. She was very Malcolm X, and I said, you gotta look up Martin Luther King a little bit too, because you're very like you're pro in the aggression, you know. And I'm like, because she's reading early Malcolm. She's like she was super aggressive at one point, and I was like, yo, you got to have both. You got to have balance, because it's not just about the hate for, white people or feeling some kind of way towards, oh, we got to get back, we're the superior race, that kind of thing. Like, it's not bad to have pride in your culture and what you do and all that kind of thing.
Right.
I think we can both agree on that.
Right.
But at the same time, you have to have the balance of peace and harmony of what we're trying to do, and trying to just get on a balanced scale with everyone. And I think that's the key to it. Now, with that, the way we are right now, clearly we have a new president, and he's been in office for about 6 months now,
right?
And he's done a lot of shit.
Yes, he has.
He is part of this generation, luckily, so I can talk about him. What are your thoughts on him?
He's what we deserve.
It's powerful.
He's what the country deserves at this point.
That is a powerful take.
I didn't vote for him.
I didn't either.
I didn't vote for Hillary either.
I didn't either. I skipped this one.
I didn't skip. I voted third party.
You skipped them.
Nah, that's not true. I'm a proponent of not buying into.
Who'd you vote for in the third party?
Gary Johnson.
Gary Johnson. Okay,
Yeah.
I looked him up. It was something he had that was weird that I didn't like.
Yeah, there was some goofiness he did on like an interview or whatever.
Maybe that's what it was.
The only reason I didn't vote for Jill Stein was because she
had a really crazy thing that was attached to her.
She was anti-vaccine.
I looked.
She was anti-vaccination.
There was that, but I looked on her website. All their websites I looked at. We literally did it at work. Me and my coworkers just read out everything.
Yeah, you should.
And
By the way, that's how you should do it.
Yeah.
You shouldn't just take somebody's word for some shit.
I didn't see a valuable option, so I just quit everybody. But that's not the way to go, by the way.
Listen, I understand that. I understand that point of view.
Crack this next beer.
Go for it. I feel like Donald Trump is the president that we deserve as a country, because the way this generation has gone over the past few years is, as a society, we've played so much into identity politics. And we've gotten so far away from actual issues and actual causes and actual problems that we face as a society, that people face, that different marginalized groups face. even though the identity politics is structured around marginalized people, it's not going about it properly. And so what happened, and I have a video about that was an immediate reaction to the election on my YouTube channel.
You mean that day you had the pom-poms, you were sharing them?
Yeah, that one. YouTube.com/Surreal469.
There it is, ladies and gentlemen. He's a professional.
Where I basically say we got what we deserved as a country. Again, the reason I voted third party is because I feel like the quote-unquote only vote one of the two party system is completely broken.
Yeah.
There are more than just those two options. We've played into that for far too long. In playing into that for far too long, we've created these, in this past election, these two monsters, these two ridiculous options that neither one of them deserved the presidency.
I thought Bernie should have ran third party.
He should have.
I think he should have ran third party, and I understand that he wanted the backing of Democrats, and it would have been really tough in Congress and that kind of thing, House of Representatives, that whole thing. But the kind of support he had, I really think he could have made a dent, even without the commercials and without all that extra stuff, because the younger crowd was on Bernie. And what the Democrats did with him pretty much gave Donald Trump the election.
Absolutely. It absolutely did.
Because once they blackballed him, because the majority of people actually went towards Bernie. So it's like that whole... Yeah. I mean, I'm not about the conspiracy theory things, but I know there was something there.
No,
there was some kind of rig.
No, the Democratic. It was proved in the emails. The Democratic Party fucked Bernie, and the problem is that you're seeing now. And again, you'll probably get the same answer from me in 2020 as things are going.
Kanye.
Kanye or The Rock.
The Rock.
Might be The Rock.
Hey, listen. You seen the picture?
I saw the picture.
You seen it? Hey, Rocky, if you smile, I'm out here, boy.
If the Democrats continue on the way that they have been for the last 7 months since the election, which is blame everybody but themselves.
Right.
They have yet to do an autopsy on why they failed.
That's what the Republicans did after Obama won the first one.
That's right. They have yet to understand why and how they could have lost to this reality show star that they propped up actually early in the primary campaign because they thought it would be such a breeze to walk over. That's part of the reason why I can't buy into the two-party system, because the Democrats have... It's not that they have no idea what they're doing. It's that they're so corrupt and so focused on, they're so blinded.
Yeah.
They have no way of knowing how to win, which is supposed to be what their what their focus is, and or how to serve the people, which in reality is what their focus should be.
Okay. Well, let me ask you this though, since you're out here hating
on everything.
Yeah.
Hate. Next motherfucker say something, gonna get shot. Believe that.
Okay, so you gotta admit, at least you will. I think you'll at least cop to this. This has been the best season of The Apprentice so far.
I don't watch The Apprentice.
Donald Trump as president. Presidential Apprentice has been.
Oh, Presidential Apprentice. Oh, it's been interesting to say the least. Now, see, here's another thing. We're talking about generations.
Right.
The generation of comics today and late night hosts and stuff today. Donald Trump should have been a fucking gift, but they have no idea what the fuck to do. They're scared. They're scared.
They don't want to touch it. Saturday Night Live will touch it.
Saturday Night Live, and you know what? And you know what? Saturday Night Live, to their benefit, has been a lot better since the election.
Yeah.
But
that first night when Dave Chappelle, that shit was funny.
Yeah.
That shit, and since then they've been on it.
Yeah. But the comics in general have no idea what the fuck to do with this. They're too afraid. They're still playing the identity politics. We fear for, and we're here for, and we want to help. No, fucking tell the goddamn jokes. Jay Leno was out there every night telling goddamn jokes about Bill Clinton getting his willy whacked every fucking night.
Well,
tell the jokes and tell the hard hitting jokes. And you saw most recently. Or not most recently, but because most recently was Bill Maher's controversy, but that had nothing to do with Trump.
You talking about his book?
No, him saying nigger on the air.
What?
Fucking yeah, we'll talk about that in a minute. But Stephen Colbert, on his little tirade about Trump and calling him a cock holster for Putin and whatever.
I did hear that.
That got him into some trouble.
He did get into
that would never have gotten him into trouble 15 years ago.
No, not at all.
Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
Every other joke on late night TV was about Bill Clinton's cock.
Well, you know what it is? It's this generation.
It is.
Because it really comes down to the whole concept of the right of free speech. We have that, and that's a lot of people forget that nowadays. And it's like, yo, you have the right to block me too. You have the right to leave. I made a post last week about that. Like, yo, because somebody popped up, they got real sensitive about a post I made. It was a picture with my boy TJ. It was when we went to my girl Qatar. Shouts to the company, matter of fact, back home. That's we show up, we take care of business, we leave. That's what we do when we party. But we were all at a pool party. Me, TJ, Ashley, my boy Jay, and we were having a great time. And I took this picture of TJ. We was all in the hot tub. Like, it was a big ass hot tub. Probably about as big as this room, honestly, which is really crazy. It was about as big as this room, though.
Shit.
And it was lit. But I took a picture of him, and at the time the Tyrone thing was going off. And that I'm Tyrone.
Oh, long
and
dick
I'm here to
style.
fuck somebody's wife, long dick style.
Yeah.
So I posted that picture about TJ. It was 2 years ago. Facebook gives me the memory. I posted again because it was just funny. Because he's a big dude like Tyrone. Like, he's an overly muscled individual.
Right.
Like, he needs to fucking calm down. Basically. He's doing push-ups right now listening to the podcast. He would be mad, but I don't care. I'm out here. He can't touch me. So basically, I posted that again because I put the caption on it like I'm Tyrone, and everybody was weak. Virginia Beach laughed out of control for that one because TJ is a fucking bully. I got him on my sweatshirt. I don't know if you saw that, but he's a savage individual, so he's on the sweatshirt. But with that, this dude pops up from California, and it's a guy, man. I'm not even gonna mention his name because he don't deserve it, but. He pops up and he goes on this rant. Oh my God, Trey, you can say whatever you want. You can be as raunchy as you'd like, and I have no problem with it. But when you start talking about, adultery, when you start speaking about adultery, and you start talking about touching other men's wives and girlfriends, I don't know why anyone would allow you around them. I feel
like that personally affected him, though.
It did, but
I feel like adultery probably personally affected him at some point.
And that's fine.
It had to have.
But what the fuck does that have to do with me? And let me tell you something. Person that I won't mention because you don't deserve it. I made a song. The song's called Mr. Nice Guy. The hook goes, I'm a nice guy from a nice place with a nice smile on my nice face. Turn your back and I'm making sure my knife's straight. And when you're out of town, I'll be making sure your wife's straight.
Oh!
Right. I said that shit.
Yeah.
So that was years ago, okay? Mind you, I was being sarcastic. Mm-hmm. I'm not after everybody's wife, okay?
Right.
Everybody can calm the fuck down.
Not everybody's.
Not everybody's wife.
Just yours.
I verbalized that properly.
Just yours.
Listen, stop. I told y'all earlier, don't listen to Brent. Go to his website, check out his shit. But just everything he said in this podcast is probably a problem. But yeah, it's like, yo, I can say whatever the fuck I want. That's my whole point. The freedom of speech thing is I can say what I want. And if you don't like it, you can delete me. And he did delete me. But my thing was afterwards or beforehand, don't send me this punk ass message.
Right.
I don't need you to say shit. Just get the fuck off my page if you're offended.
Listen, I see stuff on Facebook and Twitter all the time that I don't like, mm-hmm. or that I don't want to see, or I don't want to see again. Mm-hmm. Or sometimes I'm scrolling through Facebook and I see the same shit multiple. You know what I mean?
Right.
A meme will be floating around like, fuck, I've seen this shit all over. There's so many options. You can unfollow. Right. You don't even have to unfriend. You can just unfollow. You can hide just one post. If it's just one post with somebody you don't like.
I have a person I used to date, and I never see anything they ever say anymore.
Right.
They're gone.
Right.
But they're still my friend.
It's funny.
Technically. So they never know I'm being petty.
Speaking of Facebook, there's this part of the reason why I get into a lot of these discussions with this one particular person on Facebook is because Facebook has this guy showing up on my Facebook feed all the goddamn time. I got into a discussion with him about something. It had to be racial because this dude is almost all about race. It had to be racial. So we got into this discussion, and in the middle of this discussion, I'm seeing he and one of his friends are ganging up on me, and they're not really making, like, they're coming from an emotional place. Mm-hmm. They're not listening to statistics, not listening to logic or anything. It's just pure emotion.
Right.
So I turn off notifications in that thread. Mm-hmm. I turn it the fuck off because I don't want to deal with it anymore. I'm like, I've reached the point where I'm like, there's no other place to go. I'm not tapping out, but I'm just leaving this joint. And I hear, like, they mentioned me in a comment. Why aren't you responding? And somewhere in the thread, I was like, just ignore this comment or whatever. And I'm like, because I did what I told you to do and turned off notifications for this thread,
right.
So I don't have to listen to this anymore.
Right.
Period. Like that's like there's so many. This goes back to the original part about this generation being so damn sensitive because they don't necessarily have all these problems to deal with that the other generation had, and they have even fewer problems to deal with when it comes to social media and stuff like that. That's why when you're talking about bullying on social media and stuff like that, it's like there are so many options for you, and this goes back again to the echo chamber thing too, which isn't a good thing, but you have so many options to stay within that echo chamber. Mm-hmm. Or if something really is abusive, or if something really like actually a threat to you,
right.
Or something is, or someone is just an annoyance, or you just don't feel like seeing the same shit over and over again. You can turn off or unfollow or unblock. You have so many fucking options nowadays. Yeah. You don't have to stay there. Well, you're not forced to listen to it.
I'm gonna touch on something too, because this morning, I know you're in my wrestling group. I got a lot of groups on Facebook. Mm-hmm. Okay, I got Sports Central, I got Nonstop Entertainment, and I got my DNA group. So this morning we unblocked a guy, Chris Mormon, my guy. He's a cool dude, but we had to get rid of him because he made some outlandish comments about my boy Cap, and it kind of blew up, got a little fiery for a second.
Colin Kaepernick?
Yeah, we'll go with that.
Oh,
so. Nigga got a lot less hair though, except for on his chin. His chin, he got this goat thing going on. Neither here nor there.
Anyway,
so, you take your time, you get away from people, and we separated. And me and Chris, we stayed cool. We talked, we said whatever. I said, yo, Cap's my guy. You know what it is.
Yeah.
It's just loyalty. He respected that, and I respected it. We gave a lot of love back and forth. He went and started his own group. They doing their thing. We doing our thing. This morning, we had some people discussing. They going back and forth. The shit got heated. It was real funny, like watching everybody go at each other. So he was like, I mentioned Mormon, which is Chris's last name. I mentioned him. I'm like, yo, this dude would be funny to get into an argument with him because they both petty. They go back and forth. They never stop. It's highly entertainment for me. So then the other dude that was getting killed, Jaquez, let me shout you out too because you got killed by Justin. Justin murdered you this morning. But after that, they mentioned him, and then I talked to Kat, and we was both like, bring him back. You know what I mean? Because we're from a different era. Like, Cap is 10 years older than me, but at the same time, that's just where my brain set is. You know, I've always been there because my Uncle Steve or whatever, like, we was always cool. We was always there. We always talked. He talked to me real even when I was a little kid, and it kind of put me in a different place. I didn't have a sibling until I was 10 years old, so I grew up around adults.
Right.
So...
Same here.
Yeah, so it's just one of those things where I was always kind of a little more ahead, but I understood that era and that culture. So we brought dude back, you know, we squashed everything, and that's what it is. And it was never like, yo, fuck this dude, we can't talk to this guy, da-da-da. It was just, you know, people get heated in the moment. You say something that offends somebody, they get upset, take care of the business. You can move people out. And that's what I'm saying, like, to your point. You have the right and you have the power to go ahead and say, okay, I'm going to separate from somebody for a while and we can come back together. You know what I'm saying? Because, dude, I feel like he's one of our brothers. You know what I'm saying? In that group, it's one of our 4 horsemen or whatever. And we've been in that joint from the jump start. We made it hot. So it was destined to happen anyway. I was waiting until WrestleMania season. I told him he's on a Legends contract. It's still true. Don't fuck up. But, you know, that's my guy, though. You know what I mean? And it's just cool because we all have the same mentality when it comes to that, as far as like, yo, we can get over stuff and keep moving. But a lot in this era, man, that sensitivity is so strong and it's so like, they feel like it's a real thing that's happening. Where it's like, yo, this is a real problem. Yeah. I don't know what I'm supposed to do. Right. You said that you didn't like my jeans.
Move on. That's what you're supposed to do.
Right.
You're supposed to move
on.
That's
real life. That's how real life works.
And I harken back to black culture and stuff, and that kind of black male influence, because like you just said, I don't have any siblings, or at least no full siblings.
That explains a
lot. So my male, and I grew up with my mom. My male influences were my older cousins.
Me too.
So that...
It's shocking that there was no black dad in the house.
Right.
I'm fucking shocked from the era we come from.
So...
Shout out to my pops, by the way.
So that ability to talk shit, the ability to talk and be fast, and the ability to cut and be able to keep going, or get cut verbally and be able to keep going, is something that you had to develop in while you're sitting there playing dominoes. You had to develop over the fucking Thanksgiving table. Right. You had to develop, growing up, I played Pop Warner football. You had to develop that playing fucking on a team sport, because motherfuckers were going to talk shit about you.
I'm a basketball player. I don't like getting hit.
Whatever.
I didn't want to do that.
Whatever team sport, you had to fucking learn that shit.
Yeah.
You had to develop that. And no matter how deep they cut you, you had to be able to keep going. Now, most of the time, like in that family setting, they weren't going to cut you too deep because they were family, and they knew, A, they were family, and 2, they knew that you knew secrets about them, and they knew secrets about you. So it wasn't going to get too cut.
I'm not going to let you get away with that. Don't say A and then say 2. Okay, we're not gonna just pass by that like that's a normal thing. Let me just don't do that. All right, not on this podcast. Not on just my 50 Cent minus 48 podcast.
You know where I picked that up?
Where?
Mad About You, Paul Reiser.
Well,
Paul Reiser did that on an episode of Mad About You.
Don't try to.
And it's stuck in my brain. It's stuck in my brain forever.
Don't try to act like that's why you did it.
That is why I do it.
Full of shit. Go ahead, man. Let's say what you saying.
So anyway, you had to develop a tougher skin. You learned how to develop a tougher skin. And that's something that's missing today.
Yeah. You know what? It's true, because, like, I've had blowouts with my cousin. You know what I'm saying? My boy Lane, I talked about him on the first 2 podcasts. My cousin, he's mentioned the third one, you know, because it's my guy. But we had a blow up a couple of years ago. It got intense. You know, it got a little physical. We didn't fight, but, you know, a little wrestling. I got kicked out of his house. So it was like one of those things. I'm leaving. I'll never fucking come back here. Fuck you. I'm leaving. But we're adults. You know, we're grown-up people. So it's like, there's love there. So if there's love there, you can get over it. You know what I'm saying? And it ain't even got to be love in the sense of, like, even to that degree of family love, but just in general, having respect there, I think goes a long way. And that's, like, I was talking about my boy Chris, because it's a respect thing. He understood me, and I understood him. So it was like, I got it.
Now, here's a question I have for you.
Okay.
Yes, it's a generational thing, in that I feel like, and I don't necessarily know how much I feel this way, but I've heard it posited that this generation is a little bit more feminized, a little less masculine.
Yeah.
And so I don't want to necessarily turn into that discussion about feminism and all that other stuff. But at the same time, how much of that is a masculine versus a feminine thing? How much of that do you feel is how masculine the society is versus how feminine the society is? Because, and I'll give you some examples. Some of my best friends and I have had those blow-ups. But almost every one of them was resolved, one of them was resolved fucking immediately. Like, one of them was resolved,
come right back.
Yeah, one of them was resolved, we got into, big fucking blowout. And one of them was resolved, literally like that. It's this kind of thing that dudes have where they can have these blowouts. Sometimes they get physical.
Yeah.
But after they get physical or after the blowout happens, they come back all right, nigga, whatever. You know what I mean? How much of that do you feel is, like I said, the
masculine versus feminine.
The masculine versus feminine vibe that we're currently have in our society?
I think it has a lot to do with it. Honestly, it's funny because I read a statistic last week because I've been just gaining knowledge, man. I've been listening to a lot of audiobooks as I'm driving this truck, and I've been doing a lot of research. I've been looking into a lot of things. I just don't want to get dumb, for lack of better words. I don't want to lose what I've always had, which is my knowledge and being up to date on things. You son of a bitch. Waistline, motherfucker. But look, so with that, I feel like it has a lot to do with it because even in that statistic that I read, they were talking about how our previous grandfathers were way more masculine than us. They had more testosterone, literally, because of the food they were eating and shit. And their fathers were way more, quote unquote, manly than them.
Right.
So basically, in a nutshell, they're saying we're a bunch of little bitches.
I've seen that quite a few times in different articles.
Yeah.
How true do you feel that is?
I feel like it's real because we eat so much stuff with so many different random things in it that suppress testosterone. Cheese is a thing that suppresses testosterone. Yes, and I eat pizza a lot. So I be crying sometimes. I watch Beauty and the Beast. I got sensitive.
Don't get me started on Canadian pizza down the street. Lord have mercy.
Yo,
$2.75 slices.
Is the thing next to me? Hold on.
$2.75 ready to go slices.
Not next to me. I might have to try that one day. But neither here nor there. But that's I think it's a big part in it because me and my other cousin, his brother, Lane's brother Lacey, we got into it too. And this was when I was going through my breakup. I just broke up with my ex and I was feeling some kind of way. So everybody was saying, yo, you walking around real tight. So basically everybody was telling me it was my fault.
Yeah.
I was being a dickhead. But I don't know. Maybe I was. I can't be sure. I'm still a dickhead now. She did it to me. But we got into it, and it was a thing that, we walked out, left it where it was. It didn't get physical, but we talked a lot of stuff back and forth. He said some stuff to me that I felt offended by, personally. Right. I'm like, yo, that's how you feel? Okay. And it was the same thing that Lane had done. He had said some shit that I was like, wow, that's what your head said. Okay, I got it. You know what I'm saying? So, we cool, but now I know. You know what I mean?
Right.
But at the same time, it's like, I understand heat of the moment. Everybody's brain, everybody's DNA, everybody's makeup ain't the same, even if you're related to somebody. So we can have a thought process where I might not have gone that far and I might not have said that. But at the same time, I realized that I've been around a lot of people and I've seen a lot of experiences and I've seen a lot of different situations that people never react the same. Like a fire could break out in here right now and you may be like, oh shit, it's a fire. What do I do? And you jump on the table. You pull your skirt up.
Spotless impression, by the way.
Yeah, I felt like I was you.
Spotless.
So
10 out of 10.
You may get up there. You may do that. You know what I mean? And I may just bust out of here like, yo, we got to get the fuck out. That's me. I got to grab the fucking fire extinguisher and put this bitch out.
Again, spotless impression.
I'm on point. That's what I felt like. So, but people have different reactions is my point. And I feel like with the masculinity of things, I feel like that has a lot to do with it. Like, a lot of people are too sensitive to be able to do that, to be able to reconcile. Like me and Lacey, we came back and we talked. We had a conversation. We said, you good? Yeah, I'm good. I mean, listen, you said what you said. I said what I said. We are what we are. You know what I mean? I'm not going to say we're going to jump right back to where we were because it's not realistic. You're not going to just jump back in and act like it didn't happen.
Right.
But what you can do is get the fuck over it. You're a grown man. You can get the fuck over it and move on. And that's what we did. And I respect him for that more so than I did before. And the same thing with Lane. Me and Lane are further along in our relationship than we were then. You know, because we can talk more realistically now. Like, I understand what his issues are with me, and I can see where he was coming from.
Right.
And vice versa. He understood, like, yo, okay, I stepped over a line. I went too far in certain places, you know? And that's just what it is. And that's where the respect falls in the line, I think, a lot more so. But I think a lot of people never have those conflicts because they're so quick to be like, I'm done. Yeah. I'm not going to do it. I'm just not going to talk to him. No, it's fine.
Well, you got to have those conversations. Like,
if you care about the person. If you care about that relationship, you have to have those conversations.
Well, even if you don't necessarily care about that person.
You still think you got to talk to those people?
I feel like on some level, you have to pick and choose who you do have those conversations with and who you don't. And a lot of times it's better for you as a person, as an intellectual, for your intellectual growth to have those conversations. Another documentary that's on Netflix right now is Accidental Courtesy. It's a documentary about this jazz musician, played with Buddy Guy, jazz rock and roll musician, played with Buddy Guy, played with Ray Charles, a whole bunch of legendary musicians. Black guy.
I like it.
Who has gone around and had conversations with and made friends with members, high-ranking members of the Ku Klux Klan.
Ooh.
Like, collected their robes.
That's intense, right there.
Like, to the point where their friendship had blossomed so much that some of them straight up apologized for their former racist ways, given him their robes. He's collected dozens and dozens of them and stuff. It's a very and somewhere along the line in that documentary, he meets with some Black Lives Matters leaders.
That's crazy.
And they have a very contentious meeting because the Black Lives Matter people immediately come from the point of view of how dare you talk to them? The fuck you talking to them about? Why are you talking to them? There's no fucking point in having a conversation with them talking to these people. I was just about to say,
you're touching on those get out people again.
But
commented on us.
But
you're getting close.
Yeah,
you better stop.
Yeah, but I'm not going to stop because the whole point of the documentary is you have to have these conversations. You have to reach out and you have to at least try to have these conversations. If for no other reason than you're not going to change everybody's mind. You're not. And you're not going to completely 180 everybody or everybody you particularly meet or whatever. But these conversations foster thought. These conversations plant seeds for change. These conversations are, and this is one of the things that this generation has a hard time doing and dealing with, the hard work.
Yeah.
It fosters the hard work of actually making change.
It really does.
And you got to have those conversations. And just like with you and your friend and me and my friends, and again, like I was talking about dudes and their friends, you got to have those hard conversations sometimes so that you can move past it and you can keep going. Yeah.
No, I completely agree. I think it goes a long way to be able to actually have a dialogue with somebody, sit down and be like, yo, this is where we are, okay. Now, I can understand this, I can understand that. Not so much on this, not so much on that.
Right.
Because it leads to dialogue. And dialogue is a great thing because it'll show you a lot, it'll teach you a lot, and it goes as far as you're willing to open yourself up to take it. You know what I mean? It doesn't have to be necessarily the end-all, be-all where we get to the solution that you were necessarily looking for. But the thing is, as long as the conversation has been started, you know that you are progressing in a manner that you could eventually make some changes. Y'all can both have a difference of opinion and view things a little differently, see things a little differently. And I think that's very important. And I think that's the thing that people skip over a lot of the time where they're just like, no, I don't think I'm going to do that. I think I'm okay. You know, I'm not going to talk to the other side. Like, oh, it's a white person. No, I can't speak to that white person. They're not about that life. You know, they're not going to understand me personally. You know? And a couple things. I have my phone out right now, and I know you're looking like, yo, what's this dude doing? I'm paying attention. What I was looking for, because what you were talking about, is a video I posted. It's right here. With Charles Barkley.
Yeah, the Charles Barkley one, yeah.
Let me give a little audio on this.
Right. Richard Spencer. Charles Barkley.
Nice to meet you.
See how loud it is.
Number one, I want to thank you for taking time.
You get to meet Charles Barkley.
Yeah, I'm going to just take a second.
The term alt-right.
Yeah.
Tell me what that means.
I coined that term in 2008. The alt-right now is about identity politics in North America and really around the world.
Okay.
I want to maintain some coherence to peoples and cultures. I want a world of true diversity. I really do. I want Africans to be Africans. I want there to be an India in this world. So I want to maintain my culture. I want you to maintain yours. Where we are headed is towards a totally fragmenting, multiracial, multicultural, nothing country. It's a country without an identity.
But wouldn't you agree that the essence of American culture is that melting pot, is that coming together of people from other places?
The fact is, the United States of America, that is a white country. Anglo-Saxon Protestant whites, they defined the original America.
The only true Americans are Native Americans. So everyone else immigrated here either by choice or by servitude. African Americans have been here since the 1600s.
But we dominated.
Yes, you enslaved, okay?
All peoples enslaved and murdered other peoples, but white people were just really good at it. We were also really good at giving them rights and so on afterward.
It really bothers me when we talk about Hispanics. These people come over here, they work their asses off, they don't get paid, and they're working for white people. Now white people are coming back now and saying, we need to get rid of all of them.
Right. Look, I think they should just go home. We should have white people doing these jobs. But this idea that we're just going to bring in millions of day laborers and pay them $2 an hour because we don't want to get our hands dirty. I would rather hire black people, to be honest, because they're Native American.
All right, we're going to stop there because I can't take no more. The reason I played that is because you were talking about sitting down and having a dialogue. Like, I respect the fuck out of Charles Barkley for sitting down and having that conversation. And I wanted to bring that up this week because I feel like in this generation, there's a lot of that too. You know, there's a lot of people that really do feel like that. They feel like, yo, we're losing what we had. And I'm talking about white people here in general, but they feel like, yo, this shit is different. And I was having this conversation with TJ, the overly muscle-bound nigga I was talking about earlier. Basically, we were talking about it, and his side of it and my side, basically, we had the same view, where it's like, yo, it's crazy that there's so many people like that, because by the end of that dialogue there, that dude was talking about the fact that he doesn't feel like he's a racist. And that was amazing to me. Like,
Right.
What you just said, you don't see a problem. He felt like, nah, I mean, I want separation of races. I don't want to see a bunch of Klay Thompson, Steph Curry's running around. That's a problem. You know?
Right.
I don't need light-skinned people like that. That's Brent is far enough. You know, and I agree with him. I think Brent is far.
Again with this light skin
Look,
shit.
man,
Like,
listen, you see that?
I am not.
That's trucker arm.
I am like.
You can't see it, people, but listen, I'm 50 Shades of Trey over
You
here.
are not.
That's 2 weeks in a row. I
People
mentioned
keep
that
calling
song.
me
Go
high
look it
yellow,
up.
and I don't understand.
You
like,
are high yellow.
Like, nothing against high yellow people. Tisha Campbell was a pivotal part of my puberty, but
She was
listen, I don't consider myself like
You
I'm.
look just like that Pikachu bag to me. A lightning bolt.
Like
and
like
everything like
I'm not dark, but I'm in the middle. Like
Don't
I'm
distract
milk
me.
chocolate.
You're
Calm
not
down.
milk chocolate, man. Chill out. Goddamn toasted piece of bread. Anyway, so me and TJ were just kind of going back and forth with that, but we were talking about, like, we respect Charles Barkley for doing that dialogue, because it would have been tough for me to sit in that room. I mean, I'm very open and I can listen to a lot of things, but to hear somebody that's so crazy with their concept of race and to feel like they're not a racist with that dialogue, and then you have the people that actually are racist, because there's a lot of people that feel like him.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying? And when you have that many people that feel like him, and then you have the actual racists that, like, no, I express it, I understand, I hate niggers. You know, let's be real with that. That's deep to me. That's crazy to think about.
The interesting thing about that video that you just played, and before we recorded, we were watching the Table for Three with Michael Hayes, Jim Cornette, and Eric Bischoff.
Yep.
And one of the points that was made, he brought up the point that Jim Cornette was going to start to go in on Eric Bischoff, and Eric Bischoff had this look on his face like, bring it. And we talked about how he's, at this point, he's had enough accusations thrown upon him, like he's a politician, like he knows what's going to come. He's going to just sit there not necessarily stone-faced, but with this kind of sly smirk on his face. Right, and he's going to be like, yeah or no, or he's going to try to debunk some stuff. I feel like the difference between, like, they're similar in Eric Bischoff saying that, and the alt-right guy sitting there with the same kind of look on his face.
Yeah.
Except near the end of that, the points that Charles Barkley and the other cat that he was in the room with, the lawyer that he was in the room with, was making, there was a discomfort on the alt-right guy's face. A discomfort that to me looked like there was a little bit of the other point of view coming in, and he was trying to fight it. Now,
I don't know. It looked more like confusion. Like, you don't get it?
No, not confusion. No, not
don't
confusion.
think so?
No, I can see it in his eyes.
I
looking in his eyes, like, he knows that he's not 100% right. He knows that his point of view isn't on 100% solid ground. Now, he's not changing his mind, and he's not openly changing his mind. But
hold on.
But that conversation needed to be had.
You gonna make me start this video again. Hold on. Let's get back to it, because I think you're seeing this shit different. Hold on.
I see they're Native Americans.
Look at his face.
To do this work.
Near the end.
First of all, let's
particular.
get one thing straight.
Okay.
Do you believe in white privilege?
Yeah, white privilege is wonderful. I want to expand and deepen white privilege.
That's funny to me. I laugh.
We are living at a time in which white people are losing social dominance day by day.
You're afraid of being marginalized, right? Welcome to what it feels like to be black.
He didn't like that. See,
You don't think
that face
white
right there.
folks still dominating the world?
That face alone that he just made when that dude said that tells me that's the part that makes me feel like you got that a little wrong with his expression, because he was like, "Did you call me black? I don't want to be that."
No.
I don't want to be no nigga. Like,
See, I see it differently. I
Really?
feel like enough of these conversations can make a difference, and I feel like
you think it was making a difference on this guy?
I feel like it was making at least a little bit of a difference.
Did you hear what he said after what you just said?
Because if for no other reason, I don't feel like he's had these conversations in real life.
No, he hasn't. I guarantee he hasn't.
Particularly not often enough to deflect that.
I'm
look
not
on his
saying
face.
you're wrong, right? But
He's had these conversations on Facebook and Twitter. He's had these
Right,
conversations
right.
on his social media echo chamber.
And I don't think you're wrong. I think he has had these conversations, but I didn't feel like it got through as much as you would want in this situation.
Oh, he's not gonna sing "We Shall Overcome" with Morgan Freeman and Barack Obama in the middle of Oakland, California tomorrow. But
Let me play some more of this clip, man. I'm not fucking with you.
Do dominate the world to an extent. Look at the boards of directors of most corporations, tons of white people and Jews. Yes.
Facts.
But every day we hear, oh, isn't this great? There's more diversity in this corporation. Don't we need more people of color in films and movies? Isn't this wonderful? What is the trajectory? Where is the arrow pointing? The arrow is pointing away from white power. In my lifetime, what's going to probably happen is that I am going to become a minority in the United States. But what do I want for my great-grandchildren? I do want them to live in a white society, a European empire.
Yeah, he sounds like he's changed.
You don't consider yourself a racist.
I would never say something like, I don't like black people. I mean, that's not what I'm about.
But you don't want me in your neighborhood.
He's gonna keep with the party line, but look at his
Right.
face.
I mean, I
I
think the country is fragmenting because at the end of the day, racial differences cannot fundamentally be breached, ever.
What?
Lots of people come up here and talk about equality or opportunity or whatever. That's bullshit. I do care about
Equality.
power.
Bullshit.
Power is good.
Power is good if you're the boss or you're the slave owner.
I'm not going to help the situation by being a conservative that says, "Oh, I'm colorblind. We're all the same. God created us equal."
Conservatives don't say
That's
that, by the way.
bullshit.
Wait,
And you know,
don't-
bullshit
you don't-
never
you don't-
helps.
You don't believe in equality at all.
No. Equality? No. That's nonsense. There's no equality in nature.
Here's the next part.
There's difference.
No, go ahead. Stop. You pause.
No, I'm not stopping. I'm trying to see where we are.
Oh, okay. Go ahead.
You know, we don't want anything different in life than you do.
Are you sure about that? You just want what white people want?
Yes,
Yes?
I want a good
Start
family.
watching about now.
Yeah.
I want a good job.
You
I
gonna
want
pause?
my daughter to live in a world where she's like doesn't have to worry about discrimination. That's all we want. But in your world, if you get your dream, you're gonna kill our dreams.
Fact.
That's the problem. It's like you want to put your foot on our throats.
See, that smile's not genuine.
What?
That smile's
all
not
Charles
genuine.
is talking about, all I'm talking
That smile was not genuine. That was not a genuine smile.
I don't
That was
know,
a smile.
dog.
That was a smile of. That was not a genuine
I feel
smile.
like that was a smile of like, Yo,
he was.
You made a point.
He was trying to keep face, but he knew that Charles. But he knew that Charles made a point, and he knew that he was getting rocked by that point.
I don't think he was getting rocked.
He
was like, oh, this nigga a little smarter than I thought. I might have to add some extra white folks on this one.
Well, Charles Barkley's a little smarter than a lot of people give him credit for.
I think so too, because I think Charles an idiot like 90% of the time.
Yeah,
and then he'll say some smart shit. I'll be like, oh, Charles. Like I saw this shit. I said, oh, this show came on after Inside the NBA, and I turned it off because I wasn't curious. I didn't give a fuck. I was like, I don't want to hear Charles Barkley talk about political shit. I don't care.
Right.
Then it came back. I said, oh, when I saw that clip, I said, man, I need to look that show up. I turned it off for no reason. Like, what am I doing? Listen, I agree that those kind of conversations should be had.
Yes.
I 100% agree. And I think it goes with all of these things and culture, religion, like just in general in this generation. I think we need to talk about a lot of stuff because me personally, I believe in fun. Okay?
Yeah.
It's not to say anybody needs to be hurt. Feelings need to be hurt. People need to try to be purposefully offensive. Mm-hmm. But I do feel like a lot more people need to have fun. A lot more people need to loosen up and stop being so serious. Don't be so stressed out all the time. Like, life is short, man. Like, you're here right now, man. A meteor could fall through the fucking sky.
Exactly.
That's the crazy world we live in. Literally, an asteroid could come and destroy us both right now.
Exactly.
And this podcast may never go out. You know what I mean?
Right. But
at the end of the day, like, the moments you have with people, the moments you have in life are more important. And that's why, for me personally, if you follow me on Snapchat, I've cooled out a lot. I'm not posting as much on Snapchat because I'm living the moment. I want to remember these things. And memories fade, and I get that. But at the same time, they last for a while, and it's cool to think back. Like, I can think back on the pool party last year with my other overly muscle bound. He got muscles in his teeth, nigga. EB, and like, strong as fuck. Like, he's a strong motherfucker. He don't eat nothing.
You like us muscle bound motherfuckers, don't you?
Right? Us muscle bound. I see you. But I'm gonna actually do a fitness. I'm gonna rope EB into this shit, and I'm gonna get you. We're gonna have 3 voices.
Okay.
And we gonna talk about fitness.
Okay.
It's gonna be a lot of fun.
All right.
Because I want to do that.
I'm down.
I want to be the moderator. I'm gonna sit in between y'all because I don't want you rubbing off on him and he get a gut, or him rubbing off on you and you get a 6-pack.
Well, I mean, only if it's love at first sight. We'll all be rubbing off on him and vice versa. I mean,
EB ain't shit. Let's talk about that right now. EB. Let me just say it close. EB ain't shit. Just like TJ. But you know what, Brent? I'm gonna end this because it's been a while. I see I'm at 2001 something. I don't even know how many minutes that is, but I'll know as soon as I would imagine
we went a while.
We went for a while. We about an hour.
And we barely touched the surface. We really didn't.
Right.
You know what I mean?
This could keep going.
There's so much we didn't touch on.
This is why I jumped into this topic, because I know you could go on it, and I know it could be extended episodes. Like Jake with the music, this can be extended episodes. So I want to thank you for being my guest this week. One more time, shout out to YouTube and everything.
Surreal469 on everything. SURREAL, the number 469. YouTube, Twitter, Snapchat, Patreon, everything. YouTube.
Oh, you on Patreon?
I got a Patreon.
I know about Patreon.
I got a Patreon.
I'm on that shit, me too.
Patreon.com/Surreal469.
I'll be on it. 1989 TRE. Look me up.
I'm right now trying to. I've been off YouTube for a minute, but I'm working on editing some videos to put back up. I shot a whole bunch of them, so I'm working on editing them now to get them up. Hopefully, the launch date. Hopefully by the end of the summer.
I think that's lit. I got an album I'm working on right now, mixtape 27. Hopefully I can get it out before 27. I might have changed the name. But hey man, I appreciate you. I appreciate y'all. Thank you for listening. This is your first time listening. Thank you so much. Like, subscribe, give us comments, tell us topics you want us to touch on, and I'm your boy 1989 TRE, aka Trey Sykes, or actually Trey Sykes. And love. I'm out.